Hello there and welcome back to Painting with Martin. In front of us here we're actually looking at a toad. This is from Talisman, the board game, a game that I started playing about 15 years ago, and it's up at the 5th edition right now. These are for the 4th edition, and these are the miniatures from the 4th edition that a friend of mine actually lent me so I could paint them for him. So this is one toad. It comes in the triangle form here, but then you also have it in this form. I don't really know why. There's also a square shape, and being turned into a toad in the game is really terrible. You're a slimy toad for 3 rounds, and you drop all your gear, everything like that, and then after 3 rounds you reset in your original character without any gold, any XP, anything like that, which is really, really terrible to do this. And some characters are immune to being turned into toads. But I'm going to show you how to paint them, and I started off by priming these ones in white. Looks like this, and I'm going to slowly, in step by step, make you I'll try and teach you how to turn it from this all the way until this, so which looks a little bit better. They have this otherwise a grey plastic otherwise. I found that priming them in white was quite useful. I just use a regular spray can primer, Rust-Oleum Chalky White, I believe it's called. So this is what it looks like. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to take a combination of Caliban green from Citadel, and also from Citadel Loren Forest, which we are going to wet blend together, where the Loren Forest is going to end up on the top surface over here, and around the mouth as well, and towards the end and also underside is going to be the Caliban green. So I'm going to shake it off a little bit off camera, and I'm going to put it out on my palette. And when I put this one out, it's important to actually blend this together with a little bit of water, and I do this to make sure that the paint is quite wet to begin with. So I'm going to hold it up like this, and I turn it on, I just put the paint on as such, and I'm leaving this side over here ready for Loren Forest. And it's a very easy way to do it. I want to make sure that I don't paint the underside of this one, because that's going to be reserved for another color as well. I'm aiming to get as close to the base art as possible. Unfortunately, I don't have the card art here, but if you have the game, or if you don't have the game, you can actually take a look at it online as well, which is what I did. So this is like this. This is the frog legs, and then I'm moving on to the other side here. Hopefully you can see it. And at the same time, I want to make sure that I mention it. Please make sure that you subscribe to my channel, hit that bell button over here as well, and leave a like for me. It really helps with the algorithm and for the YouTube gods as well. Now, thank you all of you who have also subscribed to my channel so far. It really, really helps to help the channel grow and gain more visibility on YouTube. So now we're moving over to the other leg, making sure that you get all these things underneath everything, making sure that everything is covered and nice, and to the other leg as well. And if you get something on the base, don't worry about it, because we're going to cover the base in a comprehensive layer of paint known as a base paint. It's going to be a texture paint, probably a Grelin Badlands or something like that, to make sure it looks really nice and swampy for the game. And what I do in my channel, if you're new to the channel, is that I try to teach you how to put some paint on your miniatures, usually from board games, but also from some miniature games. Sometimes it is from 40k, but also from Bolt Action, Company Heroes, the board game, as well as a few others. So while it's aimed at beginner's level, so if you've never held a brush before in your life and you just want to make sure that they look a little bit better than the grey plastic or the white plastic that come out of the box, you can go to my channel and I will show you exactly step by step what to do. So this is what it looks like, and while the paint is already wet, I'm going to turn my attention to Loren Forest, which is I give it a good shake off camera to make sure all those pigments are mixing, and then I put it out on my palette as such, like this. Same thing, I give it a little bit of water, mixing around. And before I start applying the paint, I want to make sure that I clean my brush vigorously I have a paint pot from Citadel here, but you can use any regular water cup. Make sure that it move around like this, and then you slowly stroke off the water and dry it off on a kitchen towel, which I have off camera here. So now what we're doing next is we're going to apply the Loren Forest, and we're applying the Loren Forest as such. Now we're not wet blending it yet. I'm going to show you what wet blending is in a bit, but I want to make sure that I cover around the eyes, and I don't want to go inside the eyes because I've got another plan for it. But try to touch the eyelids as such. As with a little bit of practice you get the hang of it. Now as such over here I'm leaving it a little bit of white towards the edges. I'll show you why in a bit. And then we've got the other side here. Same thing around the mouth as such, like this. Turn it around. Again, avoiding the eye sockets, but also, yeah, if you do make a mistake and it's like inside the eyes, it's not a problem. We'll be able to fix it like I did here in a bit. Like this, looking quite okay. Now we are going to mix them together. So first we're going to put right next to it a little bit like this over the areas, and then we're going to take a damp brush, soak it a bit of water, wipe some of the water off, and then we're going to blend in the colors as such, moving it over in a stickling motion. So make sure that if you got too much paint on your brush, then you go back, add some more paint into the mix so the white is not showing, and using it kind of like in a dabbing motion as such. So you get a nice gradient between one color to the other. Don't forget the sides here as well. Towards the legs. But towards the back of the legs you don't need to do that because you didn't actually cover it with Loren Forest there as well. But as such, looking quite okay. And you don't, of course, you don't need to wet blend over here as well as you don't need to do it over here as well because it's one color. Well, as this one is drying, we're not going to turn our attention to the eyes yet, but we're going to turn our attention to the kind of like the underside here. And for this color, I've chosen to use a color called, also from Citadel, called Ungor Flesh. Okay, so Ungor Flesh, I'm going to apply it neat. And it's very important to use a dry brush for this one, not a dry brush as in terms of type of brush. Make sure that your brush is actually dry, it's not damp or anything from previous paint layers. So I'm applying it like this. I'm applying it in upwards layers towards upward motion towards the mouth, and it's a nice color. It's a little bit too light for my sake. And also, if you do actually happen to dab into the Loren Forest, it's not a problem. We'll be able to blend it in together afterwards. And the same thing if it happens to go into the Caliban green towards the side here as well. It's also not a problem. And here towards the side here, you can also wet blend it together to form a nice gradient between the green and the Ungor Flesh. Looking like this, okay? Quite easy. Now, what about the mouth? The mouth and the eyes are going to, oops, I dropped a brush. It's going to be one color. And one color is going to be Rhinox hide from Citadel. Again, give it a good shake to mix all those pigments together in off camera. And then these ones now, we're going to start with the eyes over here as such. And then the other side over here. Filling in those eye sockets really nice and easily. And now we also do the same thing with the mouth. And here there's no point of wet blending it anyways. If you do actually make a mistake, you can actually correct it afterwards. And I'm going to make sure here that I got everything all right. As such. Now you can see there's a little bit of white around the eyes as well, so I'm going to correct that immediately with some Loren Forest. Okay, and you can take a dry brush and try and soak this one up a little bit. You can even move around it a little bit, make sure that it's a little bit of a brown gradient there as well. That's also perfectly fine. That's also perfectly fine if you don't want to paint it over with some Ungor flesh. Now here a little bit left over here as well, so I'm just gonna move around the paint as such, and then you're done. Now, once it's done, it's looking quite okay already, but we are going to see how it's going to work out with a wash. And the shade we're going to use is, this is what it looks like when everything is dried. I painted this previously, as I showed you on the camera before, and you can see here it's very similar to what I showed you before. Now the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take some Agrax Earthshade, give it a good shake off camera, mix those pigments, and we're going to cover it with the Ungor flesh, making sure that we darken it. And you don't really have to worry about, don't forget the size here as well. And you just want to make sure that it's nice and even covered. And you can also do it around the mouth here as well. If there is any part of white showing from the primer, this is a good way also for darkening it. So that's it for the Ungor flesh part, the underside. And then for all the frog part, we are going to use something called Athonian Camoshade from Citadel. In this case, we're going to apply it all over the upper body as well as the legs, but we are going to avoid touching the eyes. You can, if you want a more brownish tone, you can mix this one in 50-50 with Agrax Earthshade. So you do like this. And don't forget the legs parts, as well as behind here. So everything is covered in this Agrax Earthshade. No, sorry, Athonian Camoshade, that's the one. And it serves to darken it, and it's not entirely just pure green. It's kind of like a mix of a green and brown. But if you wanted more brown mix into it, you can mix, as I said, Agrax Earthshade into it. You can dilute it a little bit with lime medium and water as well if it becomes too grimy. Now this is what it looks like when everything is dried. So what we're going to do next is we are going to paint the eyes. As we already covered the eyes with some Rhinox hide. Now I've also previously painted I mixed in a little bit of Rhinox hide with a little bit of Skrag brown for the center of the eyes. I did that previously to make sure this video is a little bit speeded up or sped up. So what we're going to do next is we're going to turn the eyes and make those are really glowing, or that's the aim. That's what we're aiming for. So we're going to take Skrag brown and mix it 50-50 with Yriel Yellow to get that kind of like yellowish brownish tone that we're looking for. So I'm going to put this one out over here on our palette like this. And then we're going to take the Skrag brown here and we're going to shake it a little bit. Make sure all those pigments are mixing, so as such we can see that here. Now I'll take a little bit more Yriel Yellow, making sure that we have a little bit more Yriel Yellow than brown. And what we're aiming for here is simply to paint the center of the eye in this fashion. So we have the outsides, we have Rhinox hide. More towards the center, we have Rhinox hide mixed with Skrag brown, and we have Skrag brown mixed in with Yriel Yellow. So we have this, and on the other side, we have the other side. Looking quite okay, like this. Hopefully you can see that. And you might need about maybe 1 or 2 layers to get a nice, good, even coverage on this one. Now, I'm going to put this aside, and then we're going to turn our attention to the base as everything dries. Because we haven't painted the pupils after, we're going to do that in a bit. So we're going to paint some Grelin Badland over the base. And to do that, which it's quite brutal in the brush, to be honest. So in this case, I'm using kind of like a spatula like this that I have from Armor Painter. I think it's Armor Painter. And then I'm gonna just apply it like this. And if I get something like this on the frog, it also serves 2 purposes. It will add some like grime and like dirt on the frog's body. It can cover up some nice mistakes we made in the past, and it also looks fairly nice. So it has a very thick, kind of like heavy texture. So again, we're going to go over and cover some of it like this, and on. So if we covered a little bit too much with our Caliban green here in the past, we can actually cover it up. And you can use this tip here to get in between the frog legs here as well, the frog feet or whatever you call it. Call them like this. Alright, putting this up on the side here, and we're now going to turn our attention to the pupils of the eyes. So making sure that I clean my fingers afterwards, because otherwise I'll get the Grelin Badlands all over my model, which is not the intention here. So here I'm going to use some black, and this is actually some black from this one is from this one is from Vallejo. It's called Glossy Black, and I'm going to put this one out. I'm going to show that those are really like shining here. There are 2 ways you can do this, and I'm going to show you one way to do it. This is a pen, a micron pen, and you can use this one to cheese. Sometimes it works. I'm not sure if it will work here, depending on the texture. And here I'm going to see if the pen will work. Yep, works quite well. So I'm going to use it on the other side as well. And like this, you get a straight line, and you get almost a straight line here, like this. This one looks a little bit better than the other one. So if you have one of these, or you can just use some black on the other side as well. Now, I would recommend that you also paint the rim of the base here, and also perhaps add some tufts if you have them. And finally, seal the miniatures in a varnish, because you're going to handle these miniatures quite a lot. Maybe not the toads, but at least the regular miniatures you can play with. And that's it. That's what you have the toads. So if you like this kind of miniature painting tutorials, please consider subscribing to my channel, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you very much for watching.